here to talk to you about a title that is found on many English reading lists for high school students. And it's a story that is told and retold generation after generation to students like yourself. There's a reason for that. I'd like to cover that a little bit in today's discussion, and also why this story has been so inspirational for future heroic stories that are similar to it. For instance, if you like J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, that author was inspired by this classic story of heroism. So let's go into a little bit about what this is about. So this is a masterpiece of American literature, largely regarded as such. It is written in Old English epic poem form with over 3,000 lines of alliteration. This is unrhymed 4-beat meter. Now, the author isn't known. There's been a lot of research to go into who the author was, why that person's unknown, but a lot of research suggests that it was rooted in Christian and pagan beliefs. So then let's go into what this story is actually about, and what is it? You might have heard about it. It might have been read to you as a read aloud in some of your classes, or you might have even checked it out before. It's called Beowulf. Again, unknown author. Now, you might have seen it in different illustrations, different publishers, different forms and versions. If you go to your local library catalog or your bookstore, you might see lots of different types of the exact same story. So this one's a Barnes & Noble classic. You can tell down here from the logo. And it has an introduction that was written by John McNamara. Now, the introductions are important because they oftentimes give some background, some history on the time, place, genealogy, chronology of when events happen. And this one also goes into more detail about why the author is so unknown. But okay, so let's go into a little bit about what the story is actually about. Now, this is part history, part mythology. The setting starts off in a Danish king's court. And there's a monster that is coming in and ravaging the kingdom. They're killing men at night while they sleep, so that the worst nightmares are coming true. And this type of evil requires the hero to overcome this kind of adversity. So this is a Scandinavian warrior story. It takes place in 6th century AD. This is during the time that we know of as the heroic age, where a man's strength and his ability to become a hero was defined by what he was able to accomplish and overcome. So that hero happens to be Beowulf. He comes in, fights this monster named Grendel, and overcomes that adversity. Well, then the next step is that another monster comes in. It's Grendel's mother. She finds out about the death of her son and wants to revenge his death. So she comes in and challenges Beowulf, and he again proves his worth, his strength, and his courage as a hero, which defines him. He overcomes Grendel's mother and also earns the respect of the kingdom. And so he's appointed king because the community and the court celebrate his accomplishments, and they see him as a leader. So for about 50 years, he rules as a peaceful, humble leader who has earned respect until, as often happens in tragic hero stories, something else happens. Another monster comes in, which is more evil and more challenged than anything Beowulf has faced before. A dragon that's protecting treasure. Now, I don't want to completely spoil the entire story and what happens at this climactic point in the poem, but I will say there's two major lessons that we learn. And one is that our greatest strength comes from our mind, not necessarily from the weapons that we carry. And also, a man's worth and value and stature can be defined by his burial service and what people thought of him even after he dies, how long his legend lives on. So Beowulf does some great things, and this story teaches us a lot. Again, if you're inspired by stories like this, J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings is another one that's very similar. It was written after. But anyway, so it's exciting. We're going to have this in audiobook format in the library, and we also have print version if you want to check it out. If you want to just ask us questions more about it, you can come in and talk to myself or the teacher librarian. But we're very excited to be here and hope this inspired you to learn more about this classic story. Goodbye.